Hey, it's me. It's RGB. And today I'm back with another set of replays between two very familiar players to the Western community of Starcraft fastest map on Starcraft Root War Remastered. And today we have Leebokgu and Voss. Leebokgu is known to most as the player GoldSCV or White and Black, or 1 vs 1 Go. And he is a multiple-time StarCraft World 1 vs 1 season winner. And likewise, his opponent is here known as Voss, is to the foreigners and the Westerners known as JH. He is a formidable Terran player, formidable 1 vs 1 player, has a great sense about the game, and is himself also a multiple-time 1 vs 1 winner of the StarCraft World 1 vs 1 ladder. So we've got two multiple season winners and probably two of the best players who have participated in the StarCraft World 1 vs 1 ladder, excluding probably only Brain and some other names who did participate for a short while but never really achieved anything worthwhile. There's a little background information on these two players. They're both very fast players. Leebokgu is a little bit faster because his EAPM is significantly higher than Voss's, but Voss doesn't lag behind too much. Leebokgu really has elaborate setups when he's Protoss, and he has a very solid defense when he is playing in other races. He has many different styles of attacking. He's creative, he's quick, he's got good macro, he's got pretty good micro as well, but most of all his build orders are amazing, and he never stops building and attacking at the same time. He's great at multitasking. Whereas Voss is really a player who does almost always the right thing. It's not fancy looking, but he always does the right thing, has the right things in mind, and has great awareness and a great sense. He knows kind of what to do, why to do it, and he does it, and does it quite well. So yeah, he finds his opponent right next to him because he started off with an 8 supply barrack, which means he has Marines out pretty early, which allows him to do stuff like this: build a bunker in a choke of his opponent and deny that choke from ever finishing, which I think he's going to succeed at here, which is also going to put Leebokgu in a pretty difficult situation here, because Leebokgu has nothing there in the back. He does have a gateway just now finishing up, but the gateway has nothing queued up yet. It has something queued up, but he's got no units out on the map. And the cannon there in the back, luckily for Leebokgu, finishes just in time, but there's still some room here for Voss is trying to sneak up on the top, but there's a cannon there as well, so he decides to just keep his distance for now and start building bunkers inside of Leebokgu's base. In his own base, he has an academy now on the way. No academy yet, actually. He's at the supply depot. He's waiting for minerals for an academy. The moment he's trying to get that gateway there in the front down, Leebokgu's trying to kill a Marine before the bunker finishes to at least get something done before his gateway there in the front is in the process of going down. Swapping in the cyber core there as well. He wants to get probably a robotic facility up and running so he can make Reavers, which is probably going to be the only way he's going to fight this off. He's going to need Reavers very quick, very fast before those tanks come in from Voss, and that's why he's going for the very minimalistic build order here. He's trying to build some new gateways here to replace the one that he's losing, but I think he might be losing the other two there as well. So he's kind of just placing them to buy time for his robo facility there in the back to finish up, so we can start attacking with the Reavers. Voss is not going all in yet. He's very slowly and calmly sending units over and setting up a very secure frontal fortress here, though at the moment he's got nothing inside that bunker. He's looking for an opening, he's looking for something to kill here on the sides by pushing with his Marines, moving them around strategically and trying to fit them into very tight little corners, and he managed to actually find a great spot here because there's no cannons covering this entire portion there, and looking for a weakness has paid off. And now he's able to actually get his Marines in a great position there to start attacking pretty much everything he's got there, although the probes are at the moment safe. He's pulling probes there from the minerals and trying to stack them on top of those probes there, the Marines there on the side, and he's doing so quite successfully, but he's losing a lot of his probes there in the process as well. I think he's lost about 7 or 8 or 9, maybe even 10 probes now in total. He's got less workers now than Voss has, even though he did have the +2 Nexus, but he gets one thing done, and that one thing he needed to get done is get his robo facility, although he made his second robo facility because he was afraid of losing this other one. So he now throws on a support bay as well, but he's going to lose some more probes there. And now he's once again back on 18 probes. Those 2 Marines there at the top, stuck in the corner. But Voss has done some real disruption here on Leebokgu, who had some really bad luck there by getting scouted pretty much immediately and having his opponent right next to him on a build order that usually is pretty secure unless this exact situation happens. So yeah, the SCV there in the front stays alive. He tried to get the bunker down. He's going to get that bunker down as well, although this bunker here is empty. He still has 3 Marines there. He might have sacrificed 2 Marines there to get all that stuff done, because now there's not much to fight against the Reaver, which is undoubtedly going to be coming out very soon. He can't afford the second Reaver, although he's trying to build new structures as fast as he can. Voss added on another barrack. He's got a factory there on the way. Doesn't have a, he has a tank already up and running. He's got siege on the way as well, and he's finishing Marine range. I think he finished Stim upgrade. I'm not too sure, but I think he did. Most of the time you get Stim before you get range, but in this scenario I can understand him going for range before going for Stim upgrade. So the tank is there rolling in. Siege mode is very close to finishing, and I think Leebokgu is going to try to kill the tank before it sets up shop and starts dealing damage. He's got the Reaver there inside the shuttle. 2 more Reavers are on the way. Zealots are chasing the tank. The tank is on pretty low HP, but it's still alive, although he's microing the tank away now to the back and is trying to snipe the Reaver with his Marines, but the Reaver gets picked up by the shuttle really quickly and is kept alive. And the Marines there went down instead. Oh, he's now putting Marines there in the bunker, but the Reaver there, being microed expertly by Leebokgu, is going to probably save his hide here. He gets a little more damage out on the shuttle. Shuttle there is still alive though. Reaver also still alive. He's microing it quite expertly. And yeah, every single time Voss tries to get close to kill the shuttle or the Reaver, Leebokgu picks it up and the tank there in the back goes down. One more tank is right there on the scene. Bunker there is going to go down to a Reaver shot there as well. And Leebokgu is doing an amazing job defending here with very little, being pushed into a corner literally and figuratively. Now picks up 2 Reavers, lands 1 Reaver that's low HP there in the back. So he's now 2 full HP Reavers here ready to fight. Alright, one of them is going to go down. No, he gets picked up just in time, although he's almost dead. The tank there in the back is going to try to kill it, but no, picking it up once again just in time and micros himself out of this very bad start in a very good way. And now he might be looking at, I think he's going to take over the match here. I think he's going to take over the match, and Voss is going to have a very tough time bouncing back because he lost a lot of Marines. He still has Marines there in his base, still has Stim upgrade, still has some tanks, but he's gonna have to retreat back to safety. And now Leebokgu is in the driver's seat because now he can start dishing out some damage, because pretty much anything that Voss now sends into Leebokgu's base is going to get taken down by Reaver shuttle micro. More Zealots are spawning as well. He did finish. No, he still has Zealot speed there on the way, throwing out 8 gateways here on the bottom side to try and recover as quick as he can and get an attack rolling as fast as he can before Voss gets a choke up and gets his defenses up and running as well. So the main downside of all this happening, all this aggression from Voss, is the fact that he's only on 37 workers, despite killing I think about 14 workers from Leebokgu. Got a command center on the way to try and get his economy up and running faster than if he doesn't. That's an extra 4 SCVs per 1 minute. Or although you could say it's 1 SCV per 14 seconds, but of course, you know, that's 4 seconds shy of a minute, so you might as well call it a minute. More gateways once again being added on. He's got no weapon upgrade, no Dragoon range, he's not making Dragoons either, he's sticking to mass Zealots, and he's making a lot of Zealots at the same time, because as I mentioned earlier, at the moment he has 12 and 2 more, a total of 14 gateways. I just 1 Stargate there of Corsairs to help him fly his shuttles in. So he's got a drop reloaded up. That's, well, he didn't put all the Zealots in there, but he's got 4 Zealots and 3 Reavers. Ready to fly in and start dealing damage on Voss. He's also attacking from the front there at the same time, but the more important portion is this here. The thing's going to unload here on the side. No, he doesn't unload one of those in time, and actually winds up losing 2 shuttles before they massively unload, and he does get a lot of Reaver kills there. Marine kills there with his Reaver, but these Zealots here on the side are going to clear out some buildings, and Voss is going to have to stim his units in to try and stop them from happening, but I think Leebokgu is going to pull back away from the base and preserve his units. No point in losing them if you can preserve them and attack again with them at a later date. Although this tank here might just do the trick and pull them back in. Yes, it pulls them back in. Gonna try to kill the tank there. Might even try to kill these two tanks in the back, but Marines are slimming to the front. More zealots there on the way from Leebokgu, but Leebokgu won't be dealing a lot of damage here, although he's sending them to two separate locations inside of Voss's base, which is going to draw a lot of attention from him. And yeah, the zealots there got cleared out. The zealots here are forced to pull back, and Leebokgu is now trying to formulate yet another drop attempt, although he needs, I think, Templars. He does not have Templars there on the way. He's got Templars on the way in these gateways there. He's got 4 of them in total on the way. So he's preparing his next mass drop here on the corner of Voss's base. He's pretty close to the minerals, so he might actually get stuff done. But there's a couple of units there in between. And Voss trying to catch up. It has not yet built a lot of turrets here on the side to help him defend, or is not yet hovering a building up on the hill. But the tank drop has been loaded up. It's going to go for a tank drop there on Leebokgu's minerals. But Leebokgu has Dragoons there in between, and of course they're there as well. Although now the tank drop, the dropship is flying in, but it's focused. He unloads tanks. Will this tank get any kills at all? He got some kills with the other tank. I didn't have it selected, but I think he killed about 10 or so, maybe even 15 probes there from Leebokgu. That's still a pretty good hit there he got on Leebokgu's workers. Now the worker count has more or less been equalized, which should give Voss a little bit of a better shot at bouncing back into the game despite losing so many units there in the early game, and despite being once again thrown into the defender role by Leebokgu. Leebokgu flying in here though, a lot of Marines there ready to intercept, a lot of units there unloading. He's got 4 Templars there in the mix, and he storms on the SCVs, but he storms on the wrong stack of SCVs, but a follow attack is happening as well. Zealots on top of tanks, Zealots in the back there as well, on top of Marines. Marines are trying to defend, tanks are trying to defend, but will this work? Will he succeed? I'm not too sure, although it looks like he's managing to clear out most of the Marines, but a lot of units there have gone down as well, and Voss took a real beating there. Another drop there flying in at the same time. He's going to try to snipe the shuttle, but the shuttle is not yet, he's not quick enough with taking out the shuttle. Templars are still alive, but the Templars is sniped down by Marines before he can reach the SCV line. This SCV line was simply too far away. Templar could not storm, and Voss is taking some real hits here from Leebokgu, who's amping up the aggression here to the next level. Despite that aggression he was suffering from early, he is doing a great job at getting back into the game and recovering and throwing out really serious attacks here on Voss, who is having a bit of a hard time here recovering, but he's doing a great job nonetheless. He's doing a great job nonetheless. He's got 3 command centers in the back, some 60 SCVs. He's got an armor, he's got a lot of depots, and he has, I think, 5 barracks, 4 factories, not that many. Probably the one thing he really needs is building a choke there in the front to keep units out of his base and make defending a bit easier, so units aren't always running on top of his tanks here in between his factories. He's trying to set up shop there on the hill, pretty smart move there, which is going to keep Leebokgu somewhat busy, but I think Leebokgu might load up some zealots and drop them on top of the tanks there up on the hill, with more units there being loaded up onto the hill. Not too sure if it's that smart to put tanks up here, when you can put tanks here up in the front to keep those zealots away from the front, make frontal defending easier, but the drop there being flown in from the front on top of the zealots, and the zealots are gonna distract. Zealot Templars unloading, but he pulls away his SCVs there. Storm comes down, but the storms don't really kill all that much. Units here in the front though are doing some real work. Dark Templars there as well, taking down all the units and buildings here in the front really easily, and this might actually be the part. It must actually be the moment where Leebokgu might have just done enough damage to keep Voss just small enough for the next attack. Is now going to be coming in. A lot of zealots there coming in from the front, running through the choke. Another drop there, also being sent out into the middle of the map. This once again got 3 Templars, 4 zealots ready to fly in, and the more Leebokgu keeps attacking and spamming attacks, the less units Voss will have to defend. Templars unloading next to the minerals, and the minerals are getting stormed and loses pretty much all of the SCVs there. He lost 34 SCVs there too. The double storm there coming in from Leebokgu. And this is bloody. This is the one game where you'd say, Leebokgu, you are doing a great job coming back into the game, and Voss, you're having a really bad time there. This is one of those times where using and losing so many units in the early stage of the game is actually working out against him, because it just cost him so many Marines and so much investment to deal all that damage on Leebokgu. But Leebokgu has masterfully and expertly recovered, although the one Marine there in the front is doing what I mentioned earlier, is distracting all those zealots and causing them to trip out and making attacking for Leebokgu all the harder than if he hadn't put that unit up there. He should have put some tanks up there, I think. Although he's gonna try, I think he's gonna start building cannons inside of Voss's base. Voss is losing his factories in the front. Drops coming in there. Gonna go for the SCVs there. Zealots on top of. Oh, Templar unloads next to the SCVs. He gets a storm off, but he dodges with most of his SCVs there. Loses only a single one. But does he have another storm? So I think Voss is going to call the GG here because he cannot match up with Leebokgu's aggression. Leebokgu's macro is absolutely impossible to keep up with. This is one of those games where Leebokgu isn't going for very elaborate setups, but is going for absolute, non-stop, brutal aggression that we don't often see from players at all. The attacking was non-stop, the dropping was non-stop. Voss didn't get a single moment of rest. I do think he would have had an easier time there if he built a choke or a wall in his choke to keep enemy units out. Would have definitely made it a little bit harder for Leebokgu to get in there and to get on top of Voss's tanks and marines. But nonetheless, really well played. I don't think Voss stood a chance at all. This was really, really, really well played there. But there's the second game. So let's go to game number 2 and see who's going to win that one. So in game number 1, we had a Protoss versus Terran with Leebokgu on the Protoss, Voss on the Terran. Now we're swapping their races and we get Leebokgu on the Terran, Voss on the Protoss. And they pretty much have the exact same spots, but on the other side of the map. And that should be interesting, because now we're going to see whether Voss can do the same thing to Leebokgu that Leebokgu did to Voss, or is Leebokgu too good for Voss and will Leebokgu crawl himself to a victory? That's something we're going to be looking out for. Speeding up the first events, of course, as is tradition. Leebokgu is starting out with a similar build order as Voss did last game, although he's starting off with 2 barracks into a refinery instead of 2 barracks into a 3rd barrack into a late refinery. So that means he's probably going for very fast fire bats, but it appears to me that Voss is going for a non-choke build order. He wants to go for 3 gateways instead, and 3 gateways is kind of strong against 2 barracks, unless the Terran gets fire bats out really quick and manages to keep all of his marines alive with some great super micro. But it's a very risky build order that not many people can pull off. Voss already adding on a single assimilator. He's got a is that a 4th gateway? It's a forge. Alright, so he went for a nexus and a forge alongside his 3 gateways. So he'll have a couple of units coming out there to fight against his opponent. This is, what is this? A factory there on the side. That's a very quick and greedy factory there from Leebokgu. Not sure if that's going to work because he's going to be facing some aggression. He's going to have to be defending himself, but it looks like Voss is nonetheless going to try to build a choke here in the front with the support of his zealots, where he can keep Leebokgu away from it, where he can stop Leebokgu from attacking his choke, and whether Leebokgu can stop the choke. That's going to be something we'll be seeing in the very near future, because that's going to be the point of contention that's going to decide whether this game is won by Leebokgu or by Voss, or so I think. The tank there though, that factory there though, is being built in a pretty great place, and Leebokgu is putting a lot of effort into keeping those zealots away from entering the middle and then Leebokgu's base, which would of course give away what Leebokgu's up to, because once Voss walks in here and he sees that something is missing, he's going to be assuming that he's up to something cheesy. He's going for a very quick starport there as well. I think he's going to make a tank drop that Voss cannot respond to because Voss won't know it's coming. Or maybe Voss has seen this specific strategy done so many times that he might know it's coming, prepare himself for it. Bunker there being built behind the barracks. Marines are getting stuck there trying to get through. But I do think he's got Stimmer Raid on the way. No Firebase on the way yet. He does have Stimmer Raid almost finished. There's too many Marines there for those Zealots to fight into. So the build order from Voss is having some drawbacks there because his Cybercore is really late. His gas income is really low, although he already has 320 gas. He doesn't have enough gas, I think. Well, he might be going for Dragoons to transition into a very punishing build order, but he's going for a Citadel of Adun first, so he's not planning on punishing Leebokgu for his build order, but then again, he might not know what Leebokgu's up to, because he doesn't have that much information. Tank, siege mode is there on the way. One tank is finished, and he's adding on a control tower as well to get that tank drop rolling as fast as he can. Medics have entered the fray here as well. Gonna help those Marines fight against those Zealots, but the number of Zealots is actually too great for those Marines to fight into. He's doing quite a great job of keeping his Marines alive, avoiding from losing any Marine to the Zealots, so the Micro there is keeping him afloat. But the very soon to be coming out attacks from Voss might spell too much for him to handle if he's only on a 2-barrack build and a cheese basically. Dropship is on the way though. Tank number 2 also on the way. So we're up for something good very soon. Although 2 robos there finishing up for Voss, which might spell, as I said, more trouble than good for Leebokgu. He's also adding on cannons now to try and protect himself from a tank drop. But the dropship is almost finished, and he still has to build this pylon here in order to build cannons here. He can build cannons here, and probably here, but not there. So that's probably going to be the one spot where Leebokgu is going to try and fly in, although we can of course also land here and hit the probes. But this, I think, is going to be the point of contention. He has 2 tanks there inside the dropship. It's flying in, and Voss is unprepared because he, of course, is not expecting it this soon, this quick. He unloads next to the probe line, and the probes, what is he going to do? 1 tank there, gets a shot off, and he kills 21 probes there in total so early on in the game. It's simply too many probes lost there for Voss to, I think, even recover from. But he's going to try nonetheless. 1 tank there is still alive. Probes are running back and forth, trying to stay alive and trying to avoid from stacking. Zealots are chasing the dropship to try and stop the tank from shooting once it comes out, trying to kill it as soon as he can. Armor and speed are on the way for the Protoss, so that's something to keep in mind because he can potentially go for a counterattack after this abuse, because this, of course, also slows Leebokgu down. But the gamble is pretty much that Leebokgu slows Voss more down than he can slow down himself. Tank shot comes down and kills another 8 probes there, so there's a total... Wait, another tank up here as well. Goes down before it can shoot. But it's still another 8 probes there lost for Voss, who I think has at the moment lost 30 probes before the 7-minute mark. Zealot speed is finished up here though for Voss. He's going to go for a frontal attack, I'm sure. He also must know that something is up. A Wraith there on the way as well to snipe a shuttle in case the shuttle does come in. So the frontal attack is going to work. A lot of Marines have been pulled away from the front. He stims in, but the Zealots there with speed are getting on top of those Marines. He's landing a tank there up on the hill to try and use siege mode to kill those Zealots. And the Zealots actually are going down to the Marines quicker than Voss can kill them. But a Reaver here on the scene gets a couple of kills. Gets picked up, runs away. Zealots once again entering to distract for this Reaver shuttle to get in. But the Reaver shuttle cannot get in because the units in the front go down too quick for those Marines for the shuttle to actually re-enter. Although now he's going to try to re-enter nonetheless. He's here on the side. There's a vision up on the hill there with that Wraith, so he can't go in. He has to find another way of going in. But there's Marines covering the other paths that he can fly in from. He's now on 29 probes, hasn't really recovered, whereas Leebokgu is already on 48 workers in total because he added on 2 command centers rather early, and he's really profiting and benefiting from that build order he did. It's cheesy, but it seems to be working. But the tanks up there trying to fly in. There's only 1 cannon there on the top side. He has 2 Reavers here. On the low ground, Reaver's going to be shooting on those tanks, but I think the tank's going to get a shot off on the probes. And he gets 14 kills there. 14... Wait, no, he even got more kills, or... I think he got 14 kills there with that drop. That was a pretty big hit there that Voss would rather not have happened. I think he got 14. I only saw 1 tank shooting and the tank got 14 kills. That's once again another big hit there on the workers of Voss, who has once again been proven incapable of keeping his workers alive by pulling them just in time. And Leebokgu there, ooh, he's gonna find that proxy. And now he's saying to himself, oh damn it, of course he went to go for a cheese. Of course he had to. At least that's what he's thinking to himself, and he's cursing himself for missing this detail. But really well executed by Leebokgu nonetheless. 2 factors there on the way in the front. He's adding on more depots there. He doesn't have a lot of... Oh, drop here on the bottom side. Reaver gets a lot of kills there. Ooh, it's going to go down though. But another drop coming in from the other side. Reaver there. 2 Reavers have unloaded, and they're going to kill all the Marines here on the side, which now gives them free access to that SCV line there. And he gets a couple of kills there with the Reaver. You can't see how many. Is Reaver there? Is he going to get a shot off? No, he's not going to get a shot off, but at least he got some damage down there on his adversary. Although his adversary is still 23 workers ahead of him, and even 50 supply ahead of him, which is pretty big. Well, once again, another tank drop here loaded up by Leebokgu. He's still utilizing this proxy tank drop facility there on the side to great success. There's 1 more cannon here. 2 Zealots are trying to run it to defend. The Templar's coming in from the front to the back as well. Tanks unloading. How many kills is he going to get? 7 this time around. It's not that many, but every single pro that Voss loses is going to hurt him all the more, because his opponent will just keep propelling ahead of him, just keep getting bigger and richer, whereas he's going to be pretty much stuck on the same amount of income per minute for a very long period of time. Recovering is going to be hard. He did add on 3 more nexus. That's 1,200 minerals. That's going to be giving him 12 probes per minute extra on top of the 8 probes he already has. So it's going to be 20 probes per minute to try and recover from all the abuse. So at 12 minutes in, we might be seeing him at 85 probes, but at 12 minutes we will also be seeing Leebokgu with an entire base filled up with structures and probably a 200 supply as well. Although, will he be quick enough to build up to that? I'm not sure. But he's going to be adding on more refineries very quick. Plus, in addition to having those probably 85 workers at around 12 minutes for Voss, he still has to build an entire base. While losing his front here, he's killing the tank drop proxy there, which is of course good, because that means he won't be suffering any more tank drop attacks from his opponent for at least a while, because he now has to build a new starport. He has no starport at the moment. He's floating back to base, has to land, build a new control tower, though he did have that one extra dropship here that stayed alive and is back to pick up some tanks and go for round number 4 on the probes. Or is it round number 5? He throws on a scan. Sees the front as we're building, sees some tech here on the side as well with that dropship. He's going to fly in. He's going to unload up on the hill. Dark Templars have been unloaded inside of Leebokgu's base, but he's got scans for days, and all Dark Templars there get taken down before they can do any harm whatsoever. So Voss scrambling to get something done. He's on 72 probes now, pretty quick recovery there, and he's finally starting to build a base. Although the base is at the moment still pretty much non-existent compared to his opponent's base, who has simply put a lot more structures. He's got level 1 tank weapon upgrade on the way. No, yeah, level 1 marine damage there on the finished as well. He's going for a frontal attack, it appears, because he's going to be building, I think, turrets here to try and assist this frontal attack. He's going to build bunkers, actually. Voss is adding on a lot of gateways very quick. He's trying to recover as fast as he can. He's got another drop there loaded up, ready to go in, but there's a vision up on the hill here for Leebokgu, so he's going to see that, and there's, I think, about 6 turrets there as well. Another drop there flying in from the other side as well, hoping to get that one in while he is being distracted by this drop, but it's not going to be working, I think, because there's raids there up on the hill protecting and giving him vision. Also, he went in to kill a couple of stuff here there in the back with those tanks. A lot of bunkers in the back there with marines. Tanks are very slowly pushing forward. He's using the hill there as well to his advantage. And Voss is going to have to load up a bigger drop or load up units there up on the hill to stop this push from happening. But Leebokgu is knocking on his door, and Voss now with 89 probes is looking to be pretty rich again. But he's been pushed in such a corner for such a long time. He's been slowed down so much that Leebokgu really does have a huge lead here. He even has 40 more supply than his opponent. A lot of storms are coming down on tanks, but the tanks don't go down as he tries to dodge the storms and did so to some success. Clear the tanks are up on the hill. More storms coming down. This time he's getting more success with the storms, killing a lot of marines, killing a lot of tanks and medics there as well. But he's building command centers now inside of Voss's base as a wall, as a structure to keep units away from those tanks there behind it. And even if Voss now doesn't A-move into those units, he's going to have to attack those command centers first by accident, which is going to make life very difficult for him. Like, as you can see there, life is being made very difficult for him. A lot of Templars here have spawned, but they don't have energy for storms, but they're moving to the front. Almost have energy, but he can't get a storm off just in time. No storms coming down in time. He storms on a couple of SVs and medics there, gets some kills done, but more tanks are rolling up into his base. He's having a harder and harder time to stay afloat and stay alive. Because now there's a lot of structures here blocking access to those tanks and units there in the back. He's got to drop it on the side and he can try to fly in, but he's being so distracted and so occupied with this attack here on the front. Leebokgu is having troubles with his gas. The other units here coming in. Zealots are trying to get on top of the bunkers and on top of the tanks, but Leebokgu is not having much trouble here because he's microing back his tanks, keeping them alive. Though those Zealots are penetrating through, on top of the tanks, he's target firing the tanks, ignoring the bunkers that are in the front, and he clears out most of the tanks, but more tanks are arriving on the scene here, and the bunkers, of course, with marines in them, are still firing away on those Zealots. Zealots at the moment, what upgrades do they have? They have level 2 armor upgrades, so they're actually pretty damn strong. We also have level 2, no, still level 1 weapon upgrade for marines, level 1 tank upgrade there for the tanks, normal upgrades on the way for Leebokgu, who is spending everything on units. Great defensive matrix here in the front as well on that tank. Cannons being built here in the front as well to try and keep those tanks away and at least build more for them to tear through, trying to rematch as quick as he can. Voss is occupied with that one. Drop comes down. He killed he killed a lot of SFVs there from Voss, from Leebokgu. A lot of SVs there on the minerals from Leebokgu, but Leebokgu now has 40 SVs left, most of them on the here in the front actually, and on his gas, but he has 5,000 minerals, and 5,000 minerals is in theory a lot of tanks, a lot of vultures that he can build and send into the fray. And I don't think Voss is going to be able to keep up with that. He does have a lot of gateways, but as soon as gateway units spawn, they get attacked by tanks, and then they have to walk over to those tanks and those marines, and once they arrive at the tanks and the marines, they are pretty much already dead. He's killing SCVs there with a Zealot, but the Zealot gets cleared out by a Vulture there in the end. And honestly, this looks to be a very quick 2-0 victory for Leebokgu over his opponent Voss, who was not prepared at all. He was not expecting any of this. He got caught off guard so many times. So Leebokgu kind of won the game with tank drops on the probes and reversed the roles of putting the Protoss in the defensive role and taking the lead as a Terran, which is not something we often see, but is beautiful to see when it does happen because it just makes you feel so accomplished as a Terran to pull this off. This is really beautifully executed here by Leebokgu. It's only a matter of time before Voss calls the GG and leaves the game. Now Leebokgu comes out victorious over his opponent. Really impressive here. Really, really impressively played. Yeah, there's a G. No GG, just a single G. And Voss leaves the game, and Leebokgu comes out on top and takes home the victory once again. Leebokgu has been having really strong showings this past half year, beating pretty much everyone we've watched him play against, and that's very impressive. There's a set of Leebokgu against Brain that I've been trying to get my hands on. From Leebokgu himself, he told me he'd send them, and then he didn't send them. So, not sure what's up with that one, but I hope he does send them over someday, because those replays would be so darn exciting to watch. Nonetheless, Leebokgu, 2 wins, 0 losses, wins his best of 3 against his arch nemesis Voss, who have been going at each other for years. And the sets between these two players are always exciting to watch. They are very high level, sometimes a little bit sloppy and slobber knockers, but nonetheless, they go at it like no one else does. And thank you for watching. Thank you for watching.